other people's perspective on them and like the things that like when we talk about these women, right? Because that is like a huge part of, especially like with some of our other endeavors, right? Is like a lot of these women have been suppressed. Like they have. There's women in history that did remarkable things that you and I are learning about that people have no idea about. They wouldn't even know their name. Like some of the most incredible women in the world, we don't even know their name. We are not taught about them in school. They've been
It's like
completely wiped from history.
it's like they were sacrificed or something.
Right. But then we have some men in history that this was done to as well, right? So from my perspective outside looking in, and I don't know everything, but I find him to be one of the greatest inventors ever, and he was pulling from fields that we are discovering.
Yeah.
So he's incredible. And he's one of the, when I think about people that have been like done pretty shitty in history, like he's one of the top people that comes to mind. So when we're talking about like, oh, we're like, basically telling the story of all, the beautiful, wonderful Maries and Marys and Marias and, all these saints that nobody talks about. But there's also like Tesla, right?
But I think Tesla is pretty darn well known, though. I mean, I think people know about him. And I think that there is this general consensus that, yeah, he got screwed. I mean, whenever I've chatted with people about him, that's like, yeah, crazy scientist guy, but he was onto some real shit. And, his all of his information was stolen by different entities, both personal and institutional. So,
And he was taken advantage of. But it's not just Tesla either. Like think about like some of these other men in history too. Like potentially the person that created like Jack Daniels.
yeah, I think, lady, I think you have some things that you want to discover about him.
Yes.
I think you have some things that you want to discover about him. And I think that maybe that's
I'm fascinated. I'm completely fascinated.
so here would be the question then. Does anybody have any new information about Tesla? Because we already seem to know all there is to really know about this individual, other than his connection to Maria. I think that's what you're wanting to discover. Is there anybody else out there that knows about the connection between these two people? And if they do, what is that information and where did you find it so I can get more? Because I think that's for.
But not just that though. Like Tesla invented things that literally put ends to war. Like he had the technology to end war. You know
And
what I
that
mean?
would be, yes, and that would be the intersection of those two individuals. Because I don't think he got it entirely on his own, and I don't think she got it entirely on her own. I think that they worked together to and shared information with each other that furthered each other's personal endeavors, which they may have been working on together and they may have been working on separately.
And that's the part, like nobody knows, right? Like nobody knows if they were even like in communication with each other. Like I'm not really like finding that, you know what I mean? But you're
That's
right.
what
You're right though, because she would have been very, very interested in somebody trying to do something similar to what she was trying to protect her situation from, which would be
exactly.
these UFOs that they're trying to turn into weapons.
And if we're working with this energy and this system and with this knowledge base, then you would know darn well that it would need to be gender balanced. That if it was trying to come into the world, that it would have to come from
Right.
both the male and the female gender, and in balance within both individuals as well. So uh, when you look at Maria, you can see her feminine qualities, but you can also very much see her masculine qualities. And the same thing when you look at Tesla, you can see his masculine qualities, but you can also tell that there's seems to be some pretty evident feminine qualities too. So what we're talking about is two gender balanced individuals that are in opposing negative and positive gender bodies that are working together in, you know, in cohorts with one another. They're cohorts.
Right. So Tesla was born July 10th of 1856, and he died January 7th of 1943. Maria Orsic went missing in 1945. Huh.
And if she had nothing left here to hold her, like say if she lost a beloved friend.
Oh my gosh, right. But here's the thing, they said Tesla was in love with a dove, right? For like however long.
Yes, we've had that conversation.
Right. It's just
So
fascinating to me. Like I am obsessed with people who understand the energy. And especially when they tried to stop the evil use of it, right? Like these people tried to stop it.
maybe that's the email that you can, maybe that's the inquiry you could put towards that one individual, is the inquiry of, hey, do you know of any connection between Maria and Tesla? Because if anybody would know, right, it would be where you're getting so much of this information right now.
Right. It is the same time period. It's so fascinating. Like I'm like the things that we were just taught, like that make it not make sense. So that's why I was like, but they literally had the same ideas, same goals.
Yeah.
What'd this goofball do?
So the time frame's correct where they could have potentially known each other. They're in the same time period. They're working on the same things.
Yeah.
I think that's your goal, lady. You're trying to find the intersection between the two of them because there's some part of you that believes that there was an intersection between the two of them. So you just got to find the missing link. Jamie's like, because I don't have enough things to do, right, Shelly?
Right. Well, I could see why they would be working together. I could see why they would be working in like secrecy together. Like I could, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's a theory that makes a lot of sense. That has a lot of potential. So I would say reach out to that dude, send him an email, and just say, I just have a question.
Okay, so she was born.
And then ask her too. Just flat out ask her, Jamie. Go to the source.
I know, that's what I keep saying. 1895. She was born in 1895, and he was born in 1856.
What are those dates again?
Maria Orsic was born October 31st on Halloween, 1895,
Okay.
and she disappeared March of 1945. And Tesla was born July 10th of 1856. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So 40 years before her.
Gotcha. I think it's worth an ask.
Right.
I think it doesn't hurt to ask.
Right.
No question is a stupid question, right?
Right.
Or a bad question.
It's just so freaking interesting. Like there's this like person that people don't even talk about. Daughter.
Well, they do. They talk about him. It's just that there's only so much you can talk about a person when you only have so much information about them.
Right, that's true. I know, because I've been like looking and trying to find stuff forever, ever since I saw that book with them together. And I was like, oh no, this does not look right. And then Hitler, like knowing that Hitler was interested in her, and then like you find all this stuff that says like she's like the goddess for the devil, Hitler or whatever. But the stories that I've read and learned is that she was channeling and she channeled information for the UFO, and Hitler found out about it and he wanted it. And she was like stalling, like, oh, this is broke or that's broke or this is not working out. And then she stalled, I guess, as much as she could. But she had like a group of women. And this is, like, I don't know this for sure, but this is what I've read. But they were the Vril. And it's like godlike energy. And they talk about same stuff that the Bledsoes are talking about, the same stuff that you're seeing for St. Francis talk about, the same stuff that you're seeing over and over people talking about.
Did St. Francis Assisi have a UFO experience?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's pictures of it and
Tell me,
painting.
because I guess I can go look it up on my own time.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'm curious because St. Francis has been honestly the only saint that has come through for me again and again and again.
Over
And
and over and over for me too.
my good friend Sita went to Italy and she went to his mission. And we talked all about it before she left. And when she got back, she brought me a pendant that has a little bit of dirt from his monastery.
That's freaking awesome.
As well. So
Look
I
at
didn't
these.
realize, out of all this time though, I didn't realize that he had a connection to the phenomenon at all.
Oh yeah, look.
Oh. Oh. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Ultimately, what he ended up doing. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, this is so St. Francis is something that like came in, like it's been coming in from like the beginning. Like it was like the part of that I was part of that church, St. Francis Church, but I wasn't like a part of the church, like we went there for summer school and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all over the place. And then there's like a connection, like I see the Bledsoes posting about it too, about him, St. Francis specifically. It's something that I noticed right next to major buildings all over the place. It's churches that I just randomly walk inside of because they're beautiful. Down the street from Mason temples and Scottish Rite temples.
Well, I mean, it makes sense in regards to the fact that, like, yeah, a big part of this is uh, the correct interaction with wildlife and our animal companions here on our ark.
Yep, exactly. So that's why it made sense to me. I'm like, I like animals a lot. So that would be the saint that I would relate to the most.
Yeah.